Would you like a jelly baby?
The Fourth Doctor was played by Tom Baker from 1974 to 1981, lasting from seasons 12 to 18, lasting 7 years in total and being the longest running Doctor so far.
In terms of character, 4 was weird and very unpredictable. He could be joking with you 1 minute, but be very serious about saving the universe the next. His look of the floppy hat, curly hair, long scarf, and love of jelly babies make him arguably the most iconic incarnation of the Time Lord. Yeah, nowadays people may see a certain skinny, Scottish, spiky-haired actor in a brown suit as the most iconic, but when Tennant has been the most iconic for over 40 straight years, then I'll go back on my word. Fourth Doctor's stories over his 7-year era primarily touched 3 main genres. His first 3 seasons were gothic horror in tone, but due to complaints over suitability for kids, the tone shifted to a comedic, more lighter tone, and for his final season, the production team felt they had gone too OTT with the comedy and focused more on hard science. His era introduced the Zygons, who came back for the 50th anniversary and Series 9 of the new show, Davros, the evil mad scientist who created the Daleks, and everyone's favourite robot dog, K9. So, grab your jelly babies, wrap up in your stripy scarf, and let's begin the best Fourth Doctor stories.
Number 5. The Brain of Morbius.
This story is notable for being particularly gruesome and gothic, but that's what makes it so awesome for me. The story involves the Time Lord sending the Doctor and Sarah Jane to the planet Khan without telling them specifically what to do, to stop the renegade Time Lord Morbius in gaining a new life and body. All that exists of Morbius is his brain, but mad scientist Solon has taken parts of various aliens that crash land on Khan, but he now needs a head for Morbius's brain, with the Doctor's being a perfect fit. If the plot of making a body out of mismatched body parts sounds familiar, yes, this is more or less a parody of Frankenstein, but again, that's what makes it so brilliant. It's so gruesome for family entertainment anyway, with headless bodies, brains splattering on the floor, bloody gunshot wounds, etc. But it doesn't feel out of place and adds an element of this story perfectly. And while the Doctor and Sarah Jane are on top form in terms of performances, they are both put through hell in this. They're both drugged, attacked by Morbius, nearly burned at the stake. Sarah is blinded, and the Doctor goes through a mind-bending contest with Morbius. The supporting cast is small, but they're all memorable. Philip Maddock as Solon plays the classic mad scientist who will stop at nothing until Morbius lives again. Colin Fay as Kondo, Solon's servant, is a dim-witted brute on the surface, but there's also a sympathetic side to him as he finds affection in Sarah Jane and longs for his severed arm to be returned to him. Michael Spice as the voice of Morbius is also really chilling and commands a huge presence, and you buy that a talking brain, just go with it, was once a ruthless leader of the Time Lords. The Sisterhood of Khan are also very memorable. They distrust any strangers at first due to their power of prolonging life, but like the Doctor, they don't want to see Morbius return ever again. With a gothic atmosphere, an excellent supporting cast, and our 2 leads on high form, The Brain of Morbius makes for an excellent story in the Fourth Doctor era.
Number 4. Pyramids of Mars.
This episode involves Sutekh, the last of an alien race called the Asirans, hoping to be freed from his prison on Mars after being awakened in Egypt by archaeologist Marcus Scarman. Marcus, now Sutekh's puppet, begins building a rocket with the help of robot mummies to destroy the Eye of Horus that will free Sutekh so he can, what else, destroy the universe. This is the Fourth Doctor at his most serious, but also at his most vulnerable, and Tom Baker's serious performance makes the stakes in this all the more higher. Many people are killed off in this story, but to the Doctor, this is only the beginning if they don't stop Sutekh. The Doctor's alien attitude to the death around him only adds to his determination to stop Sutekh, and even Sarah Jane calls him out on what she sees as a callous disregard for life, but you see that he's only trying to save the entire universe, and what are all these lives compared to the ones that Sutekh will destroy if he isn't stopped? Despite Sutekh not being able to move, he cements himself as one of Doctor Who's best one-off villains due to his terrifying voice by Gabriel Wolfe, who also provided the voice of the Beast in the Satan Pit in Series 2 of New Who. Furthermore, the Doctor even falls under Sutek's control and shows that even he isn't resistant to one of the most evil beings in reality. Sarah Jane is also brilliant here, as she struggles with the Doctor's alien attitude, but will stick by him no matter what. She even uses a rifle to take down Sutek's rocket. She just gets more awesome every time I watch her. Another memorable part is when the Doctor takes her to an alternate future, 1980, where they don't stop Sutekh and the world is nothing but destruction. This also raises the stakes as it reminds us that nothing is safe and time can be rewritten on a whim. With a terrifying villain, memorable robot mummies, the Doctor is most alien and Sarah Jane at her most human, Pyramids of Mars makes for an excellent story in the Fourth Doctor's long era.
Number 3. Genesis of the Daleks.
This story is more fondly remembered as one of the best, if not the best, Dalek story of all time, and yet the Daleks aren't in it as much as usual. The Time Lords have foreseen a time when the Daleks will become the most dominant life form in the universe, so they send the Doctor to Skaro, the Daleks' home planet, to avert their creation. If what I just described to you sounds easy and simple, believe me, it's not. The Doctor, Sarah Jane and Harry are caught in the final days of a 1,000-year war between the Khalids and the Thals, with both sides mutating into horrific creatures. To ensure the Khalids' survival, the chief scientist Davros places the mutants into metal casings, removing every emotion except hate, and christening it the Daleks. This story's moral dilemma is one of the best I've seen in Doctor Who's 54-year history. The Doctor has the opportunity to cease the Daleks' creation for all time and is inches away from doing so, but he can't bring himself to do it as he'd be no better than the Daleks committing genocide. And while Sarah Jane is the audience in this scene, telling the Doctor to rid the universe of evil creatures, the Doctor is the moral compass, as if he does, he'll be no better than the Daleks, and even compares the situation to killing an innocent child who could even become an evil dictator one day. This moral dilemma makes the story stand above others in my opinion, but there are plenty of other merits, such as Michael Wisher's performance as Davros, who gives one of the most scary, memorable and nasty performances that make the character such an icon of Doctor Who, and the reason he's come back nearly as much as the Daleks. Davros believes that one race must survive all others, but that also proves to be his downfall in the end. With an excellent moral dilemma, superb music, amazing performances, and a dangerous environment, Genesis of the Daleks definitely goes down as a classic. Just ignore the giant clams.
Number 2. The Deadly Assassin.
This is different and notable for a number of reasons. There's no companion with the Doctor, it's a story that's set entirely on Gallifrey for the first time. We learn Time Lords have 12 regenerations and sees the return of the Master after a 4-year absence in a completely unrecognisable form. The Doctor is framed on Gallifrey for murdering the Time Lord President and has to prove his innocence, while the Master wishes for the destruction of Gallifrey with the Eye of Harmony, a black hole that will destroy Gallifrey if opened. The Master is at his most scariest here, as he looks like a zombie as he's dying from his last incarnation, yet you feel like it's the same version from the Pertwee era, but mutilated and deformed. Gallifrey as a planet has never been portrayed better here, I think. Even though they can be seen as foolish old men in robes, you see how corrupt they are due to them turning a traitor, who I won't give away, into a hero in the end, and you think no wonder the Doctor left Gallifrey. Another noticeable aspect about this is the Matrix.
Not that one.
A world of electronic energy in which the Doctor battles the Master's assassin in and is put through hell. He falls off a cliff, is nearly run over by a train, poisoned, shot at from above by an aeroplane, and nearly drowns. And even though it's a battle in the Doctor's mind, the stakes are still high, as the Doctor could die in reality as well as the dream world, with an old villain brought back in a new yet rotten way, a fresh take on the Doctor's planet, a brilliant performance from Tom Baker, The Deadly Assassin is Doctor Who at its very best.
Number 1. The Talons of Weng Chiang.
This story is notable for being the last story that Philip Hinchcliffe worked on as showrunner, and that makes this story even more special. As you can tell, everyone is trying their best to give this era one last hurrah. The Doctor and Leela land in Victorian London, where young women are going missing that link to a Chinese magician in the theatre, and deaths that result in horrific mutilations. The war criminal, Magnus Greel from the 51st century, has set himself up as the Chinese god Weng Chiang in order to find his time cabinet that he needs to escape the Victorian era. However, he also needs young women to survive, but it's causing his skin to look horrific on the outside. Yeah, you can argue that's a metaphor for drug abuse. What I love about this story is its atmosphere and performances, but also it links to Chinese mythology as well as Sherlock Holmes. The Doctor even dressed like him in this story. Now, I should address the huge elephant in the room regarding its racism. John Bennett plays Lee Sen Chang, a Chinese magician, but he's made up in yellowface as the actor himself is not Chinese. And while today's attitude would dismiss this as racist, the performance is so good from Bennett that you don't even notice once you're halfway through. Chang is an excellent character, as he's made a living of possessing magic no one in his time period should have, but he does it all in satisfying his god, even though he sees himself as a failure by the end of it all. Magnus Greel is also a very memorable villain, being a Jack the Ripper-like figure, but with a brilliant performance once again from Michael Spice, who has a superb voice, might I add. There's also Henry Gordon Jago and Professor Lightfoot, who form one of the best double acts in the show's history, as they're complete opposites to each other. Jago is a cocky entrepreneur, while Lightfoot is a dignified professor. They form such a perfect team because they're so different from one another. Tom Baker and Louise Jameson as Leela are also excellent, with the Doctor playing detective and Leela being the fish out of water in Victorian London. While its racism may put off some, The Talons of Weng Chiang will forever remain my favourite Fourth Doctor story for its atmosphere, characters, tone, sparkling dialogue, and all-round brilliant storytelling. Just ignore the giant rat. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and comment below what your favourite Fourth Doctor stories are, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.